Hey everyone, welcome to the Story Church podcast. My name is Sarah, and I'm the Children's Ministry Director here at The Story in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Our mission here is simple, to see 0 people left unchanged by Jesus. So whether you've been following Jesus your whole life, or your journey has just begun, we hope that this message will help you draw near to the person of Jesus, be challenged and encouraged by his word, and be moved to action. We hope these next few moments are a blessing to you and equip you to see who God really is and who you are in him.
Good morning. If I haven't met you, my name is Kyle. I get to serve as one of the pastors here. And first things first is, there is some news. Our young adult hangout is now 18 to however old I am. I will always be a young adult. Never, ever going to outgrow that. And then fun thing, trivia bit for you guys is the bumper video we just watched. The voice is our actual very own Ola. And so if you see, next time you see her, yeah, she's the voice of our Esther. And I think she makes a good voice of Esther. And so as I was thinking about this sermon series, though, I started to think about, especially today, kind of just some things. And maybe you're like me, maybe you're not, but like, if you're like me, you have this thing called a bucket list. Anybody have like some things that they want to do before they die? Like bucket list, right? I got 2 big things on mine. The first one I've wanted to do since I was like a little kid, and I don't know why. It's probably because I grew up right with my boy Steve Irwin. I think it'd be exhilarating to wrestle an alligator. There's no reason behind it, y'all. I just think it'd be a lot of fun. I know it's very, very not smart. But the other thing is, on my bucket list is I really, since I was also little, I think it'd be so much fun to go skydiving. Anybody? Y'all know what I'm saying, right? Like, let's go skydiving. And for some of us, you're sitting here and you're like, Kyle, I get you. You're like me. You're like, yes, I'm in, sold out. Then there's the other party of us, right, who have a brain, who are like, that's dangerous. And I'm like, I get it. I don't care. I think it'd just be exhilarating, right? Like, how often do you get in a plane and they fling open the door and they're like, let's jump. Doesn't that sound exciting? In every part of me, that is like, no hesitation. Let's go, right? I think it's crazy. I think it's nuts. I think it'd be so much fun. But there is that reality on the other side of that coin, right? It is dangerous. What happens if your parachute doesn't deploy in time, right? You got, very, very little bit of time. Like it's dangerous. I understand it. I get it. Like one of my good friends, his wife actually went skydiving and they came in too fast. She broke her pelvis. Like, I understand there are some dangers with this, but is it worth the risk? That's the question for many of us. Like, is it worth the risk? Kyle, is it worth the risk? For me, I'm like, 100% absolutely, let's go, right? I'd go tomorrow. Actually, I'm just kidding. I would not go tomorrow. It has to be at least 75 degrees, y'all. I am not going when it's this cold out. But there's this reality, right? Like that when I decide to go, I want to decide to go because I want to do it and enjoy it. Not because I'm forced to, or like if I don't jump, then, what happens, right? Like I want it to be my decision. I want to go when I'm ready. I think we often treat a lot of our decisions in our life that same way. I mean, like every single day we're making decisions. Each day you and I make choices of what matters most and what we are facing. And for a lot of adults, we face that decision every single day. Did you know that 1 in 4 adults say that they've never taken a major life risk in their life because security matters more than their purpose? 33% of Americans say that a fear of failure regularly holds them back from pursuing personal or spiritual goals. Maybe I'm part of that 33% of that's maybe why I haven't taken that jump yet, right? Like fear of failure. Because if I fail, I die. But let's bring it a little bit closer. Like even for me, right? Like among church leaders, among pastors and church leaders, fear of criticism is the number 1 barrier to obedience in ministry decisions. Fear of failure or fear of criticism. Only 13% of Christians would describe their faith walk as bold and public. Only 13%. And I think like a lot of us would like to describe our faith as being bold and very public. That's our desire. We can say it, but I think, and myself is not excluded from this, like a lot of us probably are way more on this side. Comfort, security. Like what matters most in our life? Is it comfort and security? Or is it over here being bold and courageous? And all of us would love to say like, oh, this is it, Kyle. Like it's all about being bold, all about being courageous. But oftentimes our lives describe a different story. We choose safety and comfort over boldness and courage time after time. Because this is an easier choice. It's a safer choice. It's a convenient choice. It's also less costly. Can I just be honest with you? It's way less costly to stay comfortable and stay safe. I mean, that's what's happening to our girl Esther. If you remember, Esther is facing the same question of what matters most in her life. That's the question she's going to face today. What matters most? If you remember the story of Esther, we started out talking about Esther was this young girl. She was exiled, and she loses her mom and her dad, and so her cousin Mordecai adopts her as his daughter. And so as part of that, there's a moment where she now is the queen. She's been elevated from just an exile, a foreigner in the land, to the full-on queen of the land. But she's not living her high life like dreams. It's not like she's sitting there and doing nothing. Like there's still real concerns for her in her life. And it's not just her. We're also going to be talking about a little bit her adoptive dad, Mordecai. Like here's this guy and he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to live his life as a faithful Jew, faithful to God and what he's called him to do. But he runs into some trouble. I'd say it's good trouble. And for a lot of us, I think what we have to wrestle with is what is the most important. Because here is Mordecai, and Mordecai is trying to be faithful to God. But the king over here has elevated one of his closest buddies, Haman, to the highest place in the land just below him. And here's the reality of what Haman is all about. Haman is an ego-driven type of guy. And so he gets a little bit of power and it's not enough. So he continues to try and exercise more power and more power and more power. One of the things that he would do is if you walked past him or he walked past you, you were supposed to bow to him. Like, it's Haman, I got to bow down to him. But we have our faithful Mordecai over here who refuses. Why? Because he is a Jewish man who is faithful to God. But you can understand how Mordecai's disobedience is a pretty high-stake move for him. Because what happens if he doesn't bow to Haman? Well, Haman doesn't want to tolerate it. So Haman does what most ego and power-hungry people do. He goes to the king and he says, King, I have this great idea. Wonderful idea. There's all these Jews who have been exiled and they're foreigners in our land, and they're causing a little bit of trouble. They're not going to honor our laws. He won't bow to me, essentially is what he's saying. And it's not going to be enough for just Mordecai to get punished. Haman goes, we got to punish all of them. So when he goes to the king, he says, King, here's what I want you to do. Give me the power, give me your ring to put the stamp of approval. I think we issue a decree, a law, that any and all Jews, man, woman, young, old, every single Jew must be slaughtered and they must die. And the king goes, well, I mean, yeah, we need obedience in our kingdom. Go for it. And so this decree gets issued out. All because Haman is driven by his ego, power hungry. I can't help but pause and think how often Haman reminds me of power hungry leaders in our world. I mean, we've seen it time after time after time. The leaders who strive to eradicate others because they don't look or believe the way that they think they should. You don't look like me. You don't believe what I believe. You don't talk the way I talk. You don't dress the same way. So we're just going to eradicate you because of the opposing beliefs of who you are. Leaders who seek political power to overthrow lives and elevate themselves. So leaders we've seen from the past and even the present. I was reading a commentary on the book of Esther. in the commentary, when it came to this scripture, said, we read this and we're like, oh my goodness, that's so horrible. He said, could you imagine reading this, though, as if you were a Jew who lived in Germany during World War II? Could you imagine the weight that you are feeling? That this is not the first time. And then when we'd like to sit here and say like, oh, Haman is just a horrible man, and he was just a man back then. I still think we see Hamans today. And that can break our heart, and I think it really should. But I think there's also a reality of God's faithful hope is always present, even in the midst of darkness. I still believe that, yes, although Haman is present, God is still raising up, God is still resting upon and inviting Mordecai's and even Esther's in our day and age to stand firm in his truth, to stand firm in who they are called to be, to stand firm in what God is doing and what God has done, to be reminded of who God is and what he has done for his people. And it gets so intriguing as we continue on with the story of Haman issues this decree, and Mordecai gets word of what Haman is doing. He sees the decree, he gets told the decree, and so he gets this moment, and there's this moment in chapter 3 and 4 where it says he tears off his clothes and he puts on sackcloth and ashes of burlap. And that was historically a symbol of mourning and grieving. His heart is shattered and broken, and so he's entering into a time of grieving and mourning of what is about to happen potentially. And so he sends news to Esther. He sends a kind of a messenger back and forth, is where we're going to kind of pick up right here of Mordecai and Esther having this conversation back and forth. And so this is where we're going to pick up chapter 4, verse 8. So he also gave him a copy of the text of the edict for the annihilation. So Mordecai gave the messenger a copy, which had been published in Susa, to show Esther and explain it to her. And he told him to instruct her to go into the king's presence, to beg for mercy, plead with him for her people. Hathach went back and he reported to Esther what Mordecai had said. And then she instructed him to say to Mordecai, all the king's officials and the people of the royal provinces know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned by the king has but one law, that they may be put to death unless the king extends his golden scepter to them and spares their lives. 30 days have passed since I was last called to go to the king. So here we get Mordecai, cousin / adoptive dad of Esther. And he says, Esther, you got to do something, sis. She's like, do you understand the weight of what you're asking me to do? I mean, that's her response, right? Like, I understand, Mordecai, what you're telling me, but messenger, go back to Mordecai and tell him you understand the weight of this. You're asking me, this is a dangerous thing for me to do. You're asking me to go before the king without being summoned and possibly risk my life. I may die, essentially is what she's saying. I mean, access to the king is controlled by his royal guards. It's not that you just walk in there and you say, hey, how you doing? We should go get coffee. That's not how it works. You have to be summoned by him. And she reminds him there is a stiff law, a stiff penalty at stake for me to go before him without the invite. The stakes are high. Can I say that? It's life and death. And as we read this, I read this and I look at it and I say, I get Esther's hesitation. Anybody else? We read this and we're like, girl, I get you. Like, I get it. I would be nervous too. Her hesitation is relatable. Like, there's a cost. And honestly, she's standing here and she's like, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, you're asking me to put my life on the line. And as we read this, we're like, but hang on, Kyle. Isn't she the queen? Like, isn't that her husband? Yeah, but it doesn't work that way. Just because you're the queen doesn't mean you have intimacy with the husband. I mean, she ends this passage saying, it's been over 30 days since I've last been summoned into his quarters. Homegirl's just another girl in the castle at this point, essentially. And if she were to just walk in, or if she were to like, hey, king, I need to have a conversation with you, he's going to naturally ask, what about? And then the whole plan might be ruined. Like, why wouldn't she just go in there? Is because she doesn't even know if she's safe. I mean, Esther is facing this tension between the safety of the palace and what she's living and dwelling in, with choosing to potentially save people. And when we think about this, we're like, oh yeah, but like, I mean, the king issues that decree. You know, Haman essentially tricks the king and is trying to get him to kill all these people. But like, Kyle, like really, it's just one place. But that decree would have covered 127 provinces that would have spanned from India all the way to Ethiopia. Those 127 provinces would consume about 15 million Jews. It's not that we're talking about just hundreds and thousands. It's 15 million Jews. Their lives are at stake with this decree. I mean, Esther's obedience is literally determining the survival of millions of people. Don't forget she's a teenage girl, probably. Just a nice casual weight to have on your shoulders. It's pretty high stakes. Have you ever been facing a situation where you feel like there's actually no good answer? Like, you know what you're supposed to do, but you know that there's a very big cost to it, and you actually don't know if you want to do it? Like, there's a risk. I mean, for some of us, it's the risk of even just sharing our faith at work. Your work might be a toxic place for you to live out your faith. And if you share it, it might cost you a promotion. It may even fully cost you your job. For others of us, it's what if I start to actually walk in my faith the way that God's invited me to in my family, knowing that they're not going to accept it or believe what I believe, and I might be cast out and shunned away from my own family. The risk is high. For others of us, it's how do I choose to be faithful to God rather than even just experience and indulge in the comforts of our world that they constantly are trying to offer us. It's an emotional cost. Like, what do we do when we are faced with potential losses in our life, but also knowing there's a deep invite to a courageous and a bold faith to be living? What do we do? Our girl Esther, I think, teaches us something about that. I think her life, and in these moments, she shows us that faithfulness is never cheap. Faithfulness is never cheap, but God uses surrendered people to face impossible situations. Faithfulness is never cheap. I mean, the story even continues, and it shows that. It continues on with verses 12 through the end of the chapter here. So when Esther's words were reported back to Mordecai, can you imagine, by the way, being this messenger? Oh, Mordecai tells, okay, go tell Esther this. And he goes over here. Esther's like, okay, now go tell Mordecai this. And go over here. Like, this homie is getting 10,000 steps before noon, right? And so Esther's words are reported back to Mordecai, and he sends back this answer. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. If you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows, but maybe that you have come to your royal position right here, right now, for such a time as this. And then Esther sent this reply back to Mordecai. Go gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat, do not drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. And when this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I die, I die. So Mordecai went away and carried out all of Esther's instructions. Here's this moment. Mordecai responds back to her. Basically, Esther, you're still a Jew. You're not going to be exempt from this. When the king discovers your Jewish heritage, you and your families and your father's family are still going to die. He reminds her and he points to her that there's an invite of bold and courageous steps to be taken here. And it's not just for her, it's for others as well. But how does Mordecai do that? Well, he points back to God's faithfulness before. He says, don't you understand? If you don't take this step, deliverance will come from somebody else. But the invite is for you today to take that step. If it's not through you, God is still God. He's been faithful before. He's going to be faithful again. And Mordecai knew, and he's speaking this into her and over her life. Maybe, just maybe, Esther, you've been promoted from orphan and pawn all the way to queen for such a moment, for such a time as this. Don't take the invite and throw it away. I love the way that Christine Kane puts it. Obedience is the courage to trust God with the outcome. So many times we don't want to trust God with the outcome because we want to see the whole entire roadmap, right? It's hard for us to trust God with the outcome when the first step is so hard. And Esther is even living that, and she gets to a place at the end of chapter 4 where she says, essentially, I'm going to trust God with the outcome. I mean, her words, if I die, I die. She's making a decision to go and make a bold appearance before the king. But first, she invites her tribe. She invites her community. I mean, those are the words she speaks to Mordecai. Go round up all the other Jews in the land and fast for me and with me. Why is it so important? Why has it been such a burden on our leadership's heart to start a young adults group that's starting out at the end of January, this young adults hangout? It's because young adults have been positioned maybe for such a time as this. Why is it such a burden for us to pour into and want a place, to create a place for 18 to however old Kyle is, to gather together and to seek God's face? Is because we truly believe that's not the generations of tomorrow. They are the generations and the leaders of today. And God has anointed and placed them in certain spots for such a time as this. The proof is in the stats. I mean, you can look across the globe. Revivals have been happening at college campuses across the nation. The gospel is spreading like wildfire in high schools and middle schools. Kids are leading other kids in faith with kids coming in droves. Gen Z, millennials, and even Generation Alpha is beginning to launch a full-on attack against the evil forces at bay. Why does this matter? It's for such a time as this, and to have a community, a tribe backing and saying, we're here for you. There's moments in my life, and I'm sure there's moments in yours, where God has invited you to take steps, and you're looking at it and you're like, I don't even know if I have the faith to take those steps. But you want to know why community and tribes are so important? It's because I can borrow their faith when mine is lacking. I'm thankful for generations before me who said, borrow my faith, Kyle, because I know you might not have it right now. I wouldn't be here if I didn't borrow faith sometimes. If I didn't have people praying, interceding, and fasting in those bold steps of faith. Can I tell you, our invite is to also participate in that today. It's not to stand by and to just let it happen. But be reminded, faithfulness is never cheap. But God always uses surrendered people to face the impossible situations in life. But we live in a culture that'd rather have 30 minutes of fame rather than 30 years of faithfulness. Because faithfulness is not cheap. Fame is great when you have it. Makes us feel really good. But faithfulness, that's a long game. I mean, Jesus modeled that. Jesus walked 30 years faithfully. 3 years of ministry. 30 years faithfulness. Doing the hard work. Doing the work that nobody saw, maybe. Faithfulness. I mean, Esther points us directly to Jesus. It's the same attitude that Jesus invites us into. It's the same attitude that Esther had and even Jesus himself had. I mean, in Luke 9, when Jesus is predicting his own death, he's having this conversation, and then he comes to this place in verse 23, and he said to them all, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. Following Jesus is costly. It's not cheap, it's not convenient, and it's not comfortable. I mean, it's always been costly, but it's always been worth it. Why? Because he has always been faithful. One of my best friends, his name is Bob Goff. He's written a whole ton of books. Bob Goff and I have met one time. I'm his best friend. He doesn't know it, though. But this is what he says, and I love the way he says it. Your yes to God is the most dangerous and the most beautiful words you will ever say. It's the most dangerous because it's costly. There's a cost associated. It's going to cost you something. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's the most beautiful because it's all for him. And he's been faithful. Where's God asking for your yes today? But there's a cost you don't want to pay. For some of us, it's a yes to act rather than stay silent on the sideline and watch. For others of us, it's the fear of failure, the fear of what if that is keeping you from stepping into the invite that God has for you. For others of us, it's the emotional cost you carry when you were never meant to carry it in the first place. What's the yes? Another way to put it is, what's the jump God's inviting you into? When somebody was sharing about their first time going skydiving, they're sharing about how it was for them. They're like, it was exhilarating, right? Like you go in and you get instructed. And they're like, here's what you do. You got to pay attention, right? They tell you when you jump how your body is supposed to be, how your arms and your legs are supposed to be. They tell you the proper technique. They tell you how to breathe when you're falling. And then they're like, okay, we're going to practice in this little tube. It's going to be great. And you go and you're like, this is awesome. And it's exhilarating. And then you get all suited up. Then you walk out on the tarmac. I mean, you've done all the preparations. You've got all the instructions. You're ready to go. And you jump in the plane and they fire up that motor. And as you're going up into the sky, and you get up there and you look out of the window and you're like, this is amazing. I've never seen the world this way before. And then they do this crazy thing where they open the door. And it's at that moment you realize to you in your mind, you're like, I've never been in a plane with the door open before. I've also never been in a plane with the door open and I'm 10 to 14,000 feet in the air. And then they're like, all right, are you ready? It's your turn. And you're still brave, right? And you're like, yep. And you waddle over because you got another person attached to you. And you're like, okay, here we go. And then they walk up and they bring you right to the edge. And you're like, all right, here we go. Are you ready? And you're like, I think I am. I've got this. And then when that door is open and you look out, you realize 10 to 14,000 feet in the air is a lot of feet. As you're looking down, they're like, all right. And you hear in your mind, you're like, okay, I think I've got this. I think I'm ready. And when you walk up to that door and they're like, okay, here we go. You're sure you're ready? Yes, I'm ready. And they're like, we jump on 3. And on 1, you take that deep breath in. And then you ask yourself the question, is my life insurance policy up to date? And as that thought floods your mind, You stand out and you look and they're like, and then you hear 2. And before you know it, 2 and you're already fallen. You're free falling. 10 to 14,000 feet. They push you on 2. Because our natural tendency is on 3, we grab for safety and comfort. On 3, you reach for what you know, which are handles, by the way. On 3, you extend your arms out and you say, wait a minute, I was just kidding. One second. On 3, you grab for whatever you can. But on 2, you're still evaluating your life choice. What if God's inviting you to walk up to the very edge today? And you look and you're like, this is nuts. You're saying, we're jumping on 3. And on 1, you start to reevaluate. Because I do it. And on 2, as he nudges you more and more, what if you jumped? Like, what is that jump? For some of us, it's signing up to be baptized next week. And it's terrifying. Kyle, you want me to get up? You want me to get in the water and get all wet and then and stand before everybody and be like, hey, this is who I am? Yeah, I'm asking you to boldly proclaim an external declaration of the internal transformation that God has done in your life. 100%. But that's terrifying for some of us, to get up on a stage and to do that. For others of us, it's a deliberate invite this week to share your faith with that person at your work, at your school, in your family. You know that nudge you've been feeling? You've just been ignoring? Maybe this week is that week where you just actually take that jump. For some of us, it's to find community. We have groups that are still going. We have groups that are launching coming up here in February. It's to find a community, a tribe to do life with. For others of us, it's to dive deeper in our faith, to start a Bible reading plan. Maybe it's a step into faithfully tithing. Because here's what I've started to learn. When you take that jump, the first moment as you're free falling, you're like, I am going to die. But then you open your eyes and you realize you've never looked at the world in this perspective before. You've never seen the birds as you go past them in the way that you're seeing them right now. You've never seen the treetops like you are looking at them right now. You've never seen the lakes, the beaches, the houses from the perspective that you've been invited into right now. What is your jump? What is the yes that God is inviting you into? Not to figure out the hows or the whens, but to simply say yes before I know it all. What is it today? And what are you going to do about it? God, as we come into your presence today, as we sit in your presence, God, we know that you are stirring, we know that you are speaking, we know that you are nudging some of us to bold and courageous obedience, even though it scares us to death. God, would you remind us that you've been faithful? Would you remind us that you are good and that you are loving? And yes, remind us that faithfulness is costly. But also remind us, God, of your goodness and your grace and your love that has always been worth it. Lord, I pray for boldness this week for us, for courage this week for us, to walk in, to taking the jump into saying yes to what you've invited us into. Give us a new perspective when we walk with you, Lord, when we've taken that jump, when we've taken that step. God, we just make room for you to speak, make room for you to do what only you can do. So, Lord, we ask, come into our hearts, but come rest on us, Lord. Come guide us. Come fill this place, fill our homes, fill our cars, fill our workplaces, our schools. Come, Holy Spirit, and move and stir in ways that we can't even begin to imagine. We make room for you to move within us, to move around us, Lord. We make and create space for you just to speak. So, Lord, would you just continue to draw us close to you, to speak to us, and give us boldness that only can come from you, to say yes, even when it sounds crazy, and even when it doesn't make sense. Give us boldness to take the jump with you. We ask this in your name. Amen.
We hope this message encourages you in seeing who God is and who you are in Him. If you want to take the next step, visit thestorygr.com/new. We look forward to connecting with you there, and we'll see you back here next week.